Hey y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I'm back for another video. I'm gonna just adjust this a little. I'm a little higher than normal. Actually, I'll just scoot back. Anyways, I'm here to do a live video. We're gonna talk about Lizzo. We're gonna talk about fat phobia. We're gonna talk about these strange excuses that people are coming up with to try to shit on Lizzo. People just don't like Lizzo. But before we really get into it, two announcements. One, I picked the December winner of the FORHARRIET Grant Scholarship. Shout out to Brianna Reed. Brianna is doing work that I really wanted to support. If you want to support a Black woman in college, go over to the community page and you can, slide her a couple dollars. Two, next Saturday, I am doing a live Q&A on how I make videos, how I research and record, how I figured out how to make money over the past year, enough money to pay for myself. I have an assistant, I pay my intern, and how I have gotten, I don't know, like 94,000 subscribers this year. That's a live Q&A. It does cost money. If you're a patron, the cost is only $9.50. If you're not a patron, it's $19. That's next Saturday at 12 p.m. Central Time. Come hang out, ask me all of your questions. I will answer the most invasive money-related questions that you got. I will share all of the knowledge that I've learned from making this a thing. The link to sign up for that is in the description box. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Lizzo. Okay. So I've defended Lizzo before because people just don't like her. You just don't like her, and you're coming up with all of these really bullshit excuses to just shit on her. Okay, so Lizzo went to a Lakers game and she was basically wearing a t-shirt with the ass part of the t-shirt cut out, and she was wearing a thong, and she was wearing like fishnet tights, right? And this is why it is useful to take some time before making content, because my first thought was, girl, what you doing? Why? And I think it was that because we've also seen a lot from Lizzo naked. We've seen a lot of Lizzo's naked body recently. It just seems like, I don't know, something has flipped for her. She's become a little bit bolder. She wants us to know that she's feeling herself, that she's sexy and loving it, right? So my first instinct was like, really, sis? Is that what we're doing? And I think that like multiple things can be true at once. I think that one thing that is true was Lizzo was doing a lot, right? Like, I don't like that we have to be disingenuous about the fact that she was doing a lot. It was a lot for a basketball game. And if it had been anybody else, we would also say that they were doing a lot. I remember seeing James Charles, that beauty guru, wearing assless chaps to Coachella, and I said, what you doing, James? If it were Nicki Minaj and she did that, I would say, there go Nicki, doing that desperate stuff again. So I think that we can be honest about the fact that like it was a lot. However, right, I think that this is a time when we can question like the usefulness of doing a lot, right? So I think one thing is, I am always up for us questioning like our definitions of what is tacky, what is classless, what is too much, and why do we consider it to be too much, right? So certainly we've seen a lot from people like Rihanna. We've seen a lot from people like Beyonce. And I think with Rihanna in particular, she is a pop culture figure who consistently pushes the boundaries of too much. You know, when I was doing research to come and sit down, we've seen Rihanna's like full-on tits, like nipples, a lot. Rihanna loves to show her boobs, okay? And like, I remember the first time seeing Rihanna's nipples and people being like, oh my gosh, like, what are the kids gonna do? And all the girls are gonna think that's okay. But now we've just come to expect that from Rihanna. We can think of like another pop culture figure like a Lady Gaga, who just has always worn the most ridiculous and outlandish stuff. And of course, our first instinct is to say, that is a lot. But like, that's also, we've come to accept it as her. And I think that like Lizzo right now is like being completely her and being completely free. And yes, it is a lot, but I think it is a lot with a purpose. And I think that one of the reasons why Lizzo's a lot is particularly distasteful and people gotta talk about what the kids gonna do and who's gonna see and you don't want her bare ass on the seats. Like, come on, y'all. It is because she is fat. There is a particular stigma and a particular disgust that we have when fat people who we already think are taking up too much space, when they dare to do a lot, people are exceptionally offended by that. Like, offended in a way that they wouldn't respond if it was a thinner person. And I think that we can be honest about that too. And I also think, you know, I saw a really interesting tweet from a woman named Didi Delgado that really got me to thinking about what is the political usefulness of doing too much, of doing a lot. And I don't claim to know what's in Lizzo's mind. I don't know. But I certainly think that from what we can glean from her public statements and from her interviews, she's given a lot of really interesting interviews right now, is she has a desire as somebody who used to really battle deeply with her self-image and self-esteem. And actually in that Time interview, the Time Entertainer of the Year cover, she talks about feeling bad, not so great about her body recently, right? And so if this is a woman who has felt bad about her body, who is coming to terms like with just feeling good in her body, people who is consistently dealing with an escalated level of negative attention because we live in a fat phobic society, her doing a lot is politically useful because not only is she doing it for herself, but she is modeling for people out there that it is okay to do a lot. It's so fascinating to me. People have commented, especially on the last Lizzo live that I did, there's no such thing as fat phobia. Everybody's fat in society. Yes, there actually is still a pointed stigma around fat, around fatness. People, as a thinner person, I see people health concern troll fat people in a way that they never do me. And I eat fast food every day, right? People feel entitled to voice their opinions, to try to wrangle in bodies that they feel are deviant. And you know who talks about this a lot? Roxane Gay, right? Is that if you see a body that you feel like is errant or wayward or deviant, even if you have no relationship with the person, you feel like it's your responsibility to tell them that they're doing something wrong. And I feel like we see that a lot with how people interact with Lizzo. This woman is a performer. She's supposed to do a lot. And I think that if Lizzo's boldness inspires particularly Black women and Black girls who are navigating society in fat bodies, if she can inspire them to do the most, to do a lot, and not be ashamed and not be burdened by society's expectations that big people consistently apologize for their bigness or try to shrink themselves, I think that like politically, that's a win. You know? Like who is she really hurting? You know, I am so fascinated by the outrage and the anger and the disgust that is directed toward Lizzo. People acting like she did something to you. Lizzo didn't do shit to you. She just had her ass out. She twerked on the Jumbotron for a few seconds. Like, who is it hurting? Not only is it not hurting somebody, but it could potentially be helping. Okay. I also think that whenever people are invoking children, I immediately tune it out. That's like the number one sign of demagoguery. Children see all sorts of shit. Children see violence. Children see like hetero love propaganda all the time, implied sex, people making out, those little NBA cheerleaders in the little two pieces, cussing all the time. Stop it, okay? It is your responsibility to convey like the messages that you want to your children. It's not Lizzo's responsibility. It's especially not Lizzo's responsibility when we see all sorts of bullshit around us. Stop it. You're putting an undue burden on Lizzo. Stop that. I also think that like we should rethink like what is appropriate dress, the usefulness of dress codes. I think that often when we're talking about appropriate dress and dress codes, those are just thinly veiled attempts to like police the bodies of women, of black folks. Dress codes are also, they're gendered, they're racialized, they're classed. And so just generally, despite the fact that I'm sometimes in favor of a dress code, I think generally, like, we should be in favor of people transgressing our narrow ideas of appropriateness, because appropriateness is wound up in like so much stuff that ultimately is oppressive. So basically, when I first saw it, I was like, but then I thought about it, and I'm glad that I listened to people, particularly fat women, fat black women, and my mind about it completely changed. If they are getting closer to being free by seeing Lizzo be free and confident and sexy, ain't no problem with that. I have no problems with that whatsoever. I also want to talk about, we're going to just mention Azealia Banks again, because I saw her, some Instagram post that Azealia put up, and it's like, okay, so I understand being concerned about the historic misrepresentation of black women, right? I think that there has been so much intentional degrading images. There have been so many intentionally degrading images of black women distributed in our society by this white supremacist media that we should be skeptical of what white folks like. I actually understand that. However, I do not like projecting that stuff onto Lizzo. I don't like it, and I think that it's not done with good intentions. When people say that Lizzo is a mammy, I think they are intentionally misrepresenting how Lizzo is self-possessed. Not only that, not only does she have agency to do what she wants with her body, she has been doing this for a long time. Lizzo just got popping, but she has been making music for years. I first heard that Boys song, you know, where she, in the video where she's wearing the little afro, like years ago. Like, the idea that she just popped up is no, this woman has been grinding, right? So not only is she self-possessed, not only has she worked her ass off to get to this point, but people minimize when they're projecting that mammy shit onto her. They minimize the ways that Lizzo is doing something completely new and different. Mammy was a fiction of the white supremacist imagination. Lizzo is her own woman. Mammy was intentionally desexualized. She was intentionally decontextualized from black communities. Lizzo is intentionally presenting her body as sexual, as desirable, as her own, but also situating that sexy, desirable, feminine body within blackness. Lizzo is consistently referencing blackness. She's consistently referencing the black community. And so to try to paint her as a marionette for white supremacy intentionally minimizes the fact that Lizzo is one of one. We have not seen somebody do what Lizzo is doing in popular culture ever. Ever. And people, I study pop culture. Okay, I'm a student of it. I'm a lover of it. And when people are bringing up all of these fat black women caricatures, We have never seen a Lizzo in pop music. It's not happened. It just hasn't. We have seen Missy Elliott, you know, an innovator, avant-garde, visually super, super creative. But Missy, despite the fact that she talked about sex, was covered up, right? Got a little sexy on us every once in a while. We have not seen a fat black woman do what Lizzo has done in popular culture, not to this degree. It's never happened. And you know why it's never happened? Because the intersection of black woman and fatness is so often met with disgust that this is the first time that there has ever been a space for a Lizzo to exist. So it really bothers me that people approach Lizzo so ahistorically simply because she's fat. The only reason why you are comparing Lizzo to a Mammy is because Mammy was fat and Lizzo is fat. That's the only reason. And it really bothers me that, like, when you're talking about Lizzo as this Mammy figure, as somebody only white women love, how you are erasing the impact that Lizzo has on fat black women, fat black girls. The reason why I can appreciate Lizzo so much as this pop culture figure is because I see how she makes the bigger bodied black women in my sphere feel. How much they love her, how much they celebrate her. I'm not centering whiteness and the white gaze in the way that I consume Lizzo. The only reason why you are doing that is because she's fat. Is because you're disgusted by fatness. That's it. And it also bothers me. Okay, so I have read. Let me look at these. The people have given money, so I just want to make sure that I shout you guys out. Y'all ain't worried about twerking and naked butts in films made for children, but someone shakes their pants at a ball game and got you uppity. Hypocrisy. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, I don't trust Azalea's criticisms, and I don't trust most people's criticisms of Lizzo, because Azalea in particular has shown herself to be not super comfortable with her own body. She has shown herself, I can't speak today. She has shown herself to be anxious to critique other people's bodies. I remember the nasty shit that she said about Cupcake. So even if she is trying to bring in all of this historical stuff and trying to say, look at the historic misrepresentation of black women and this is white supremacy. There is a way when people use their historical knowledge as a means to justify their fat phobia. And I think that is often what is happening with Lizzo. People are talking about whiteness and white women, and they don't want to see women be beautiful, just as a means to disguise the fact that, like, you don't like fat people. You don't like a fat black woman being celebrated in this way. It makes you uncomfortable, right? Don't try to bring up the image of black women in this. One, because black women are just factually more likely to have bigger bodies in this country. So a Lizzo is probably more representative of not just black women, but like most women in this country than like a super skinny person. Okay. So like, spare us. And I also have a problem with like people who are trying to say that Lizzo is a puppet for white supremacy, but they're ultimately using white supremacist language. So what I was going to say before I checked the comments was, I'm reading this book called Fearing the Black Body. It's a book by Sabrina Strings. It's basically a book about how fat phobia was constructed in this country in order to marginalize black people. Constructed in the West, we should say. So like Europe and the United States. intentionally to marginalize Black people, right? So there was a construction of the thin ideal, which was supposed to be to embody ideal white womanhood. And the contrast to the thin ideal was the disgusting, obese Black body. And so it's interesting to me that in trying to critique Lizzo for being a puppet for white supremacy, you actually end up using white supremacist language. And what I mean by that is, read this book. It's amazing. It's called Fearing the Black Body. It's by Sabrina Strings. And what's so interesting is Dr. Strings basically outlines how, don't you think it's fascinating that like the way that we talk about fat people so closely aligns with the ways that we, the historic stereotypes of Black folks, right? So like the stereotypes about Black people is that we are lazy, that we're undisciplined, that we're overindulgent. And the stereotypes of fat people is that they are lazy, that they're overindulgent, that they're undisciplined. And that was done purposely. And so I just want people to be cognizant of the fact that when you are espousing these fat phobic ideas, especially when you are directing them at a Black woman, you are reinforcing white supremacy. Okay. Yeah, so whiteness is moral, disciplined, ambitious, and so is thinness. And I also just want to say, like, I've seen people say white women love Lizzo because they're not threatened by her. She's deemed unattractive. And I'm just like, I think it's possible that a lot of white women love Lizzo because we are in this like body posy, sex posy moment. And I have lots of critiques of those kinds of movements. I don't think that there's some issues, right? But you are intentionally ignoring the fact that like white women also have like Melissa McCarthy, white women have Rebel Wilson, white women have Adele, white women have Adie Bryant. Like these are incredibly famous women. They appear on magazine covers. We see them on the morning TV shows. We see them on the late night shows. They win awards. So white women also celebrate and uplift fat women. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, the idea that like white women only want to present themselves as like thin and beautiful, and that's why they like Lizzo because she's and I'm like, that's just not true. I also think that another important thing that I learned from Fearing the Black Body, which was an amazing book, I just want everybody to read it, is I'm not 100% convinced that like weight and health are like completely decoupled, but I do think that the ways that we are only focused on weight really obscures the other stuff that impacts our health. And so I think it's really, really important for us to understand that like fat shaming and fat phobia can be way more unhealthy, way more damaging and dangerous than somebody just living in an overweight body. That's all I have to say about that. Just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about it. Let's talk about some questions. I don't know. I haven't done a live in a while. Just wanted to talk to you guys. Missed ya. And I just want to underscore, as I mentioned earlier, stigmatizing fatness disproportionately affects Black women. So you're not pro-Black woman if you're fat phobic. You're just not. Let's go to some questions. What do you think about No Name canceling performances? I think No Name can do whatever she wants. If she doesn't want to perform for white people, then she doesn't have to. You know? I think you can't help you can't really help who your audience is. You can't really help who buys your music. All you can help is what you produce. And No Name has made it clear over and over again that she is pro-black. She's like damn near a Marxist. I appreciate the work that she's trying to do with her book club. But yeah, she doesn't want to perform for white folks, then don't. How do you feel about Lizzo's music? I like a lot of Lizzo's music. I don't like all of it. But as I've said over and over again, I think Juice was an exceptional song, like one of the best songs of the year, like top 5, maybe top 3 for me. I think it's kind of weird that these old songs, I mean, Truth Hurt is a cute song. Truth Hurts is a cute song, but I don't think it's her best song. Good as Hell is a cute song. I don't think it's her best song. I don't love all of the songs, but I love a lot of them. I like that pop music. I do. I know a lot of people don't like it, but that's the type of music that I really like. She was dead wrong to wear that. Who cares? What do you mean she was dead wrong? What makes it dead wrong? We see performers do outlandish shit all the time. Like, I don't know, like so many performers just routinely traffic in the tacky, the classless, the over the top. Look at Cher, look at Gaga, look at Rihanna. It's like, look at Prince. It's like, that's just a thing. People really taking it to heart is like so funny to me. It's funny to me. Why is it always called a phobia if you don't like something? Because if there's no such thing as like, I just don't like fat people. I mean, that's just not a thing. You are prejudiced against them and you are probably perpetuating some sort of inequality against them. You know, it's just like, I don't know, just stand up in it, right? Like, okay, here's my thing. You don't like fat people, you're disgusted by fat people, you don't want to see it, you're a bigot. Stand up in it. I'm not going to debate it with you, but like, let's just call it what it is. I'm a plus size black woman. Lizzo's music saved me from suicide. Oh. I'm glad you're still here, Megan. Yeah, so I think that like, we should really be cognizant of the fact that one of the reasons why people are having such visceral responses to Lizzo is because we've not seen a Lizzo before. We've just not seen her doing this. And we've just not seen a fat black woman doing this kind of stuff. And whenever we see people doing new stuff, it's going to be particularly jarring. And so we can cover it up with whatever you want to cover it up with. The children, wrong venue, whatever. But ultimately, you know, she's doing some new shit, and I think that Lizzo recognizes that she's doing some new shit. Thank you, Lady of Fire Poetry. What about her enforcing the stereotype of the over-sexual black woman? As I said before, here's something that we should really think about, right? I hear people saying this, but like, what are the bounds of appropriateness for fat black women to publicly explore their sexuality? I have not seen somebody do what Lizzo has done on this scale ever before. I study pop culture very closely. If you've seen somebody in a body like Lizzo's doing what Lizzo is doing, please let me know. I would like to see it, okay? So Lizzo is doing a new thing. She's breaking barriers, but people saying, well, she's just replicating a stereotype. I think that it is important that fat black women whose sexuality is often treated as something to be disgusted by, as they're often treated as like the brunt of the joke. I think that they deserve an opportunity to like be sexy and to be sexual and to like figure it out. And yeah, maybe it is a little bit messy, but I think like some shit is gonna be messy when you're the first person doing it in this way. I don't know. I've yet to see somebody really articulate for me what the appropriate bounds are for a fat black woman publicly exploring her sexuality. And I think that we don't have language for it because we just never, there's just no space for it. And so Lizzo is opening up that space in a way that like people don't like. No, no, no. There's a time and a place. Okay, why should your time and place dictate what Lizzo's time and place is? And also, when has pop stardom ever worked like that? She's not exploring sexuality. She's exposing her butt in public. Two different things. Those two things they're inextricably linked. Being one of the reasons why fat bodies are so often desexualized is because we expect them to be consistently hidden away. We expect fat people to be ashamed of their bodies. And so if you are expected to carry around this shame, and if you are expected to cover up all the time, there is no space to explore your sexuality. And I think that Lizzo understands that. Now, I don't know what's going on in Lizzo's mind. I don't know if she's insecure. I don't know if she's empowered. I don't know. But I am saying, just as somebody who studies images, the body, the visibility of the body is intimately connected to your ability to explore your sexuality. And to just even be thought of as like a sexy person, as a confident person. You know, like, whose bodies do we deem worthy of being seen? It's not a fat black woman's body. And I'm staying home for the rest of the year, but next year we're gonna sit down with some people to talk about this, because I can't be the voice of it because I'm a thin person or thinnish person. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have this conversation because yeah. Do that around adults. I don't want my kids seeing someone ass, fat, or skinny. Do you cover your children's eyes when the NFL cheerleaders are performing, or when the NBA cheerleaders are performing? Because they're wearing no clothes and they're gyrating and they're body rolling. I don't know. It just seems like we get real, we pick and choose. They don't have their asses out. They wearing booty shorts. They're body rolling in booty shorts. What are you talking about? Pop culture guru says artists Rihanna and Beyonce and Nicki Minaj are allowed to be sexual and free, but all those women are lighter skinned and thinner, unlike Lizzo. Yeah. They are wearing clothes. Okay. Lizzo did not embarrass us. What are you even talking about? Like, what are you saying? The Lizzo gate reminds me of the H&M ad with the black girl in her natural hair after playing outside. Black people are telling on themselves and are covering it up with concern. Yeah. I agree. Hey, Kim, how do you think the growing demographic shifts favoring lighter-skinned Latinx and mixed-race folks will impact any progress made regarding colorist-based hierarchies? Um, I don't think that we needed demographic shifts to favor lighter-skinned Latinx people. So, I mean, I don't really know how to. I kind of disagree with the foundational premise, so I can't really answer that. Booty shorts are very different from a woman wearing a thong with she had fishnets under it. Is it very different? Is it very different? Or are you imagining that are we amplifying the different, like, okay. Is it very different? I question that. Um but okay. Okay. Um she did embarrass herself. How are you? I don't know. How are you determining if somebody embarrasses themselves? You felt embarrassed, but that doesn't mean that she felt embarrassed. I think here's the thing. I think that we all need to um, not project our own internal feelings onto her. Okay. So if you felt embarrassed watching Lizzo be cool with her body and like twerk on the Jumbotron, that's a you problem. That's not a Lizzo problem. Uh, I think that not taking in the fat phobia, that these is just a situation where people are going to disagree. Some people don't see the problem with thong out in public, and some people see it. Yeah, I think that, like, if you don't want to wear a thong out in public, then don't. That's what I think. And I think that we should be able to separate the stuff that like makes us personally uncomfortable from like stuff that is like inappropriate. We shouldn't talk about that in absolute terms. My friend, let's see. My friend is overweight and only wears huge ass sweats because anything else makes her look too sexy just for wearing a cami and jeans. A skinny person would wear that to church. Yeah. I felt I felt disrespected as a black woman. It's time out for so much extra bullshit. You felt disrespected as a black woman because another black woman wore something you didn't like. I'm sorry, but you need to get free. I'm really sorry. The idea that we can't just say, I didn't like that outfit. It wasn't for me. The fact that we have to jump to, I felt disrespected as a black woman. Stop it. I'm sorry, but I'm really just over consistently having to react to white supremacy in that way. You felt disrespected as a black woman because you are worried about what white society will say about black women. That sounds like shackles to me. Sorry. Having the white gaze and white supremacy dictate every single move that you make, having the white gaze dictate how you respond to another black woman, that sounds like slavery to me. I'm just kidding. Sorry, slavery is not a joke, but I do mean it does sound oppressive. Megan says they make out on jumbotrons, hetero and straight. We have a right not to see it. No, you don't. No, you don't. What are you talking? What is going on, you guys? You don't have a right. You have a right to turn the channel if you don't want to see it. You have a right to keep scrolling if you don't want to see it. You have a right to not purchase her music. You have a right to not support her as an artist. You do not have a right to tell somebody else that they can't go out of their house looking however the fuck they want to look. No, that's not your right. Your stance on Joe Biden, he will probably get the nomination and I will vote for him. Yes, we do. There are literal laws that address public nudity. Did Lizzo get a ticket? Was Lizzo arrested? Did the security at wherever the Lakers play, did they stop her or approach her? If not, then I don't know why we're talking about laws. You're talking about personal discomfort. Celebs are held. Do you miss Kamala Harris? Please. LOL, do I miss Kamala Harris? It's a no for me. As if they didn't put her on the Jumbotron, they knew what she was wearing. Yes, they did. Children were there. Y'all really gonna do the children? Children were there when the NBA girls had the booty shorts sliding up the butt cracks and they were gyrating. Like, what are you talking about? People are being so dishonest right now. Just say you're uncomfortable and keep it trucking. And this mammy narrative is gross and not only disrespectful to Lizzo, but the history of the stereotype. I agree, the male experience. I agree. Anybody can apply for, well, any black person can apply for the grant. If you're enrolled in school, send a cover letter and proof of enrollment to grants@FORHARRIET.com. Elias, shout out to you. How about the little black girls who are over-sexualized in this culture? I think that we need lots of different types of images. I believe that it's important that we have lots of different types of images. If there were 20 Lizzos, which there are not, then I would feel differently. If there historically had been 20 Lizzos, 20 fat black women in popular music, getting the type of shine that Lizzo has gotten, being unabashedly, unapologetically okay with their bodies, encouraging other people to be happy with their bodies, being sexual in public, then maybe I would feel differently. But what I'm saying is, until we have a space carved out in our society where black women and black girls in particular with bigger bodies, until they have space to say, I like my body, this is it, I like sex, this is it, I am sexual, I am sexy, I feel good in it, then Lizzo is not the first person that I'm gonna come for. Lizzo is way down on the list for me. She is not my top concern. And if you are making Lizzo your primary concern when we have all this other shit, all these other examples of hypersexuality or the oversexualized black woman, that says something to me about your fat phobia. Because it's a whole bunch of other people that we can be pointing the finger at, but we don't point the finger at them. We yas them and we queen them and we support them and we buy their music and we celebrate them and we put them on a pedestal. Okay. Lizzo is free to and should do what she wants, but why are black women always the face of the pro-obesity movement? Sidibe, Monique, etc. As I mentioned, Melissa McCarthy, Adele, Rebel Wilson, A.D. Bryant. It's hella fat white ladies out here making millions of dollars. So yes, you mentioned Lizzo, Gabby Sidibe, and Monique. You mentioned 3 people. Why are we mentioning 3 people? Like it ain't Beyonce, Rihanna, Normani out here. Like we don't see Michelle Obama being rich and fabulous. Like we don't see Oprah out here. Like we don't see Issa Rae. Like we don't see, I know y'all not fucking with Lena Waithe, but like we don't see a Lena Waithe. Like we don't see a Gabrielle Union. It really bothers me that the only time that y'all want to talk about the visibility of fat black women is when you want to say that they should shut up and be quiet and cover their bodies. I don't like it. Thank you, Mother Darling Darson. I am a very new, okay. Do black trans women qualify for the grant? All black women qualify for the grant. I hope you're not trying to be backdoor transphobic. Don't do that. If you're a black woman, you can qualify. You didn't think about that. Erica. Why can't black fat women be sexy? I think that they can. I do agree that Normani needs to put out new music. Yeah, thongs on a plus size girl at a game with kids is inappropriate because kids are there, yet wearing string bikinis on skinny girls at public pools with kids is okay. Right. I mean, it's like, do you take your kids to the beach? Do you take your kids to the swimming pool? Do you go on cruises? You can't control what people are wearing anytime you exit your home. I don't know. It just seems like phony excuses to me. Let's talk about these bulges swinging around in basketball shorts. Now, hold on. Now, let's not take away the bulges now. White women don't have their weight tied to their brand. Black women, when overweight. I reviewed 3 or 4 months ago a show called Shrill featuring A.D. Bryant from SNL, and it's basically all about weight. You don't think Rebel Wilson doesn't get asked about her weight all the time? I don't know. It's like, Kirsten says, thank you for bringing some logic to the conversation. Thanks, Kirsten. There is such a clear connection between the hate she's getting and her weight. The comments aren't just that it was tacky, it's that she's too big for that. Like, just say you hate fat people and go. I mean, yeah. Lady of Fire Poetry says, you are so right, but I just wish it had been in a more appropriate situation. I do think, as I said earlier, I think that there is usefulness in like pushing the bounds of like what is an appropriate situation. I mean, Lizzo didn't have her ass out in church. She wasn't at a funeral. You know, she was at like a basketball game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't realize that the Staples Center was holy ground. I don't know. How have you gone about combating Black moral conservatism in progressive spaces, especially when it's linked to people's faith directly or indirectly? I don't understand that question. Sorry. How have I gone about combating Black moral conservatism? I don't know, push against it, question it. I think a lot of this stuff, I honestly think a lot of times we just believe stuff and say stuff and we don't even really know why we believe it or say it. We just repeat stuff just because that's what we've been told or because that's tradition or whatever. And I just think like question all of that shit. No, like why? Why? And a lot of times when you really push people and ask why, they don't really have a thoughtful, well argued like reason for why they believe a thing, like why something is wrong. How do you feel about Bernie Sanders? I feel like he is old, but I like his policies. Let's be honest, Lizzo was wrong. Let's be honest, I do not agree with that. A more appropriate venue wouldn't have been as widely televised. And so it wouldn't do as much to normalize fat bodies. Yeah, I do think that, like, as I mentioned earlier, I think that what Lizzo is doing is interesting because people still hate fat people. People still hate fatness. It's still uncomfortable. And so I saw somebody on Facebook say, like, that wearing her ass out was like a form of protest. And, like, yeah, that can sound kind of extreme. But I definitely think that if you think about the way that we expect fat people to feel shame or the way that we go out of our way to shame fat people, that somebody who looks like Lizzo doing whatever the fuck she wants is kind of a protest. And I do think that she's doing a lot to like normalize a body that like is not often celebrated. And people think it shouldn't be celebrated. And as I've said over and over again, a big part of this is you do not think that Lizzo has a body that deserves to be celebrated. It's spelled Lizzo, but apparently it's pronounced Sarah Bartman. She enjoys being a carnival show. Thank you for the money. Lizzo is an entertainer. She's an entertainer. I don't I don't know what you're expecting from an entertainer, but back in my day, entertainers have their tits out. Entertainers wear crazy shit. Entertainers wear meat dresses. Entertainers have their asses out. Like, it's a thing. So, yes, people saying, oh, she just wants attention. Yeah, probably, because that's in her job description. And also, whoever said comparing her to Sarah Bartman lacks nuance is that's the shit that I'm talking about. That's the shit that I'm talking about. There is literally the fact that we can only view black women through these historically oppressive images means that black women have no space to do weird shit, bizarre shit, to press boundaries. If the only way that you can consume the work of a black woman, if the only way that you can view black woman is through the lens of the stuff that white supremacy has produced, that's a you problem. That's not her problem. Yes, an entertainer for white gaze and amusement. I don't know if you have read the comments of people who said, of black women who've said that I like Lizzo. Lizzo gives me confidence. Megan said Lizzo's music helped me to not be suicidal anymore. I don't understand why we have to intentionally erase the black women and the black girls who need a Lizzo because you're so concerned about what white folks are thinking. I truly do not understand that. But her fans are mostly white. I don't really know who her fans mostly are. I think that people try to discredit Lizzo by saying her fans are mostly white. All I know is I have seen many, many, many black women go up for Lizzo. Many, many, many black women with bigger bodies defend Lizzo, say that they feel inspired by her, say that they feel empowered by her. And just because some white ladies like her does not mean that I'm going to ignore that. White ladies like Rihanna, white ladies like Beyonce. You know, I feel like white ladies like Kendrick Lamar, white ladies like Jay-Z. I mean, you know, white people in general. I do feel like the white fandom stuff is weaponized against Lizzo in a very particular way. And we could talk about why that is. But the idea that like it ain't white women sitting front row at the Formation World Tour, it's just not true. I don't. As a black woman, when can we hold other black women accountable? We should hold other black women accountable when we do shit that's actually damaging and dangerous. You holding a black woman accountable over a thong you didn't like? If you didn't like it, move on. It's just not a pretext to hold somebody accountable. It's an outfit you didn't like. Hold people accountable when they are promoting vulture capitalism. Hold people accountable when they are promoting homophobia. Hold people accountable when they are promoting white supremacy. I'm not trying to hold somebody accountable because they wore a thong and some fishnets. Get a life. I'm sorry. I just. I heard the Staples Center may ban her. Who did you hear that from? Y'all just making up stuff. Um, do, 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 do. Little Kim was out of line when she came on stage with Diana Ross wearing a pasty. Okay, you know what? All right. She is contributing to the over-sexualization and objectification of black women. Oh, I mean, if you say so. Lizzo has issues, but she's not top 5 worst things that happened. Mere mortal, thank you. I believe that she was just asked to perform in Houston. Okay. All right, are there any other questions while we're here? Are you for role models promoting modesty? I don't really care about modesty, to be honest, so no. I don't care about modesty. What I care about is balance. That's what I care about. I care about having a wide range of images. I care about black women having space to be our full selves. If you want to be modest, be modest. If you want to be sexy, be sexy. I care about black women having the space and the resources and the opportunity to be exactly who we want to be whenever we want to be that. That's what I care about. But like modesty, just that, it's not really my concern. Entertainers wear it when performing, not at a game. Well, Lizzo decided to wear it at a game. New rules. How do you feel about Juice WRLD's death? These drugs. I feel like as soon as I heard that he died, I thought it would be drugs. I assumed it was going to be drugs. And I think it's unfortunate that we live in a society where like drugs are so easy to get, like hard drugs. I'm not talking about weed. Who cares about that? Drugs that kill people, Percocets. That shit is normalized. It's glamorized. And we're in the middle of an opioid epidemic. People are dying every day. So I think it's sad. Anytime a 21-year-old dies, like that's sad. Don't do drugs. But I also think that like a lot of this opioid crisis is manufactured by the state. I think our government bears a lot of responsibility for what's happening right now. Isn't modesty a social construct? Yes, it is, Allie. I say if a place serves alcohol, you don't have to be modest. I think that's a good rule. You're contributing to black people being a joke to everyone. Every platform should be critical of her decision. It was wrong, period. Being a joke to who? Being a joke to whom? I can't really stress enough that I just wonder how you are being pro-black when your primary concern in these comments is about what everyone else thinks. Now, we can have a conversation about what black girls are seeing. That's a conversation that I'm willing to engage in. But a conversation about what the people who created the degrading images are thinking when they see Lizzo, a conversation about how white supremacy is going to interpret Lizzo, or how white supremacy is going to consume Lizzo, is just not a conversation that I'm interested in having. Thoughts on Planned Parenthood's founder? I always see concern. I'm sorry, but we're not having a conversation about Margaret Sanger. That's a 101 conversation that I don't really have desire to get into, but I 100% support Planned Parenthood. I think the work is important. I think that Planned Parenthood is saving lives every day. Love it. Could you do more videos with Tea with Queen and Jay? I love the energy between you three. I loved them. They were so great. They were so fun. As soon as we sat down, they were like that. I loved it. Maybe in the future, but I'm trying to, get some more people. I definitely think that like a fat phobia conversation would be interesting. So I'm going to find some like radical self-love people to talk about, fat activist people to talk with. I think that would be interesting. But they were great. I would love to talk to them again. Would you ever do a mukbang? No, I would not. I think mukbangs are disgusting. I have a whole rant in my heart about mukbangs. I think it's really gross that YouTube encourages waste like that. I think YouTube just generally is a very wasteful space. I think that food waste really makes me angry. It makes me upset. I understand that it makes a lot of people money, but like, I don't know, when people are out here starving, it just doesn't make me feel good to see people sit and eat hundreds of dollars and like throw away hundreds of dollars worth of food. It just doesn't make me feel good. But no shade to the mukbangers. I just don't like it. Mukbangs are gross, but being obese is okay. Yeah, okay. Just say you hate fat people. There are so many. The idea that being overweight is inextricably linked to excess is just not true. It's just not true. Just say you don't like fat people and go. Planned Parenthood fired their CEO in secret this year. They have a lot of drama going on. Yep, they do. I think the CEO, I think, had a problem with gender neutral language. I think that that's why they were forced out. Mukbangs are just like big hauls, mass consumerism, like capitalism. Absolutely. It's not for me. But, it's not for me. Not knocking anybody else's hustle. I know people are like getting rich off of mukbangs. Shout out to B Love. Is that her name? I don't like to see it. I'm getting so paranoid about the food waste thing that like I'm considering not eating meat anymore. It's just something personally that like it's just I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know. Everybody talking about health and all of that. Like, I didn't realize that there were so many doctors and nutritionists and dietitians in my viewership. I didn't realize that everybody went to school to get specialized degrees in health, that they can determine somebody's health status just by looking at them. But it's good to know. Um, how do you feel about Pete Buttigieg's 0% support from black voters and how people are suggesting that it's due to black people being more homophobic than other demographics? Pete Buttigieg has not meaningfully spoken to black people. That's why black people don't support him. That's it. I think Pete Buttigieg is white and he's privileged and he is surrounded by white privileged people and they don't know how to talk to black folks. The end. That's it. What do you think about the comparisons you get with Julesy? Would you ever consider collaborating with her or interviewing her on your channel? I love Julesy's content. I've met Julesy. I think she is great. I love it. I don't think we do the exact same thing, but I definitely think that we have similar politics. So I definitely understand the comparisons. I feel kind of similarly about Andrew Yang. He's surrounded by privilege as well. If not all of it is white, there's a reason white supremacists supported him. White supremacists support Andrew Yang? I did not know that. People don't understand that there are many factors that lead to being overweight that aren't in the person's affected control. Okay. Also, some can't afford thinness, like monetarily. Yeah. So I think that, I don't know, everybody thinks that suddenly whenever we're talking about weight, everybody becomes a doctor in ways like that they don't become doctors when we're talking about other stuff. And it's like, I just can't take you seriously. I just can't take you seriously. Especially not when more and more of the research that we're seeing now indicates that maybe we have overemphasized weight when it comes to assessing somebody's health. Um, it's weird the way boundaries for whiteness have shifted somewhat for certain non-black people. Oh my gosh. It's time to go. Oh my gosh, it's been 73 minutes. What the hell? This is long. Am I gonna keep this up? We'll keep it up for a couple days. And then it'll be patrons only. Whoa, that hour flew the fuck by. So like I said, in a week on December 21st, I'm doing a live Q&A answering all of the questions that I've gotten over the past year on how I record and research videos, how I've grown this channel. This year, this channel has grown by like 94,000 subscribers. People ask me questions about that. People ask me about how I promote this channel. People ask me about how I make money. So all of those questions are going to be answered during that live Q&A. It's $19. It's going to be 4 hours. It's going to be $19. If you are a patron, it's 50% off. So that's $9.50. The link to sign up is in the description box below. Shout out to the December grant winner. Shout out to Brianna Reed. She's amazing. Love her work. Happy to support her. That's all I got. That's all I got. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. It's okay. We can agree to disagree. I am never doing an ADOS video. Absolutely not. Bye.